A special presentation of CTV Sports.
Rain finally went away. They got to play another day. Old Man Autumn stepped up to the plate while youngsters watched some World Series fate.
Sinking fast in right center and in for a hit. And on the wet turf, it scoots past Eisenreich to the wall. And Molitor has a triple. The payoff pitch. He struck him out. That's well hit to left. Incaviglia watches it go. Home run, Paul Molitor. On the ground hard. Molitor, nice play to second. Back to first. Out at first.
Rain went away. What we'll remember is this man's day. Well, it rained all day long in Philadelphia after the Blue Jays rained on the Phillies last night. But this is the way they think around here, folks. Winners laugh, losers say deal. The Phillies are ready to deal. Down 2-1. They aren't letting one lost night erase a season of very hard work. So Philly fanatic and all, here we are for Game 4. The comeback kids, the Philadelphia Phillies, against a team on a mission, the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and welcome to CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the 1993 World Series. Those drops we saw all day were raindrops, not tears. It's only Game 4, and it could even up tonight with a Philadelphia win. On the other hand, the Blue Jays are as sharp as ever. They benched the American League batting champion and go ahead and win 10-3 last night. Not only are they sharp, they have handled this matter with the class of a Tiffany vase. You go back to the bickering during the ALCS and the Chicago White Sox about who would play and who wouldn't, and you realize that Cito Gaston is doing all the right things. Tonight it's John Olerud again and Paul Molitor at third base. Olerud playing first, Ed Sprague on the bench.
All morning, and of course, once I got to the ballpark, I just called Molitor in again and talked to him again about it, and he seemed to be a little bit more comfortable with it today. He assured me that it wouldn't interfere with his hitting, so that's what I was concerned about, and let's hope it works out for us.
Can you give yourself some credit at how this has been handled with such class within the organization? Because you look at what happened with the White Sox and all the bickering with George Bell and Bowen not being able to play. Is that your credit or the team's credit?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I'm pretty honest. I'm honest with my players all the time. I don't think I've ever lied to a player, and I've been just lucky and fortunate to have a lot of good players on this team that have the same type of attitude.
They are getting it done. We hope to get it done for you tonight. The forecast calls for light rain and fog. We hope to get this one in. We're pretty sure we will. 62 degrees right now. The players did take batting practice underneath Veterans Stadium here tonight. There you see the Blue Jays. On the other side, the Philadelphia Phillies took practice. And we talked to Jim Eisenreich about these conditions on this AstroTurf. The drainage is tremendous here, but it still was a factor last night.
Like Molitor's triple in the first inning last night. Hit the turf, and if I wasn't there, it was gone. I knew that I couldn't get it after it hit the turf because it just shoots, you know, and that's the main thing. You come up for a throw and the ball's soaking wet, you know, you can't throw it, and I don't throw well anyway, so. Jim
Eisenreich. Well, we had a stirring experience here a little while ago. For the first time ever at a Major League Baseball game, an entire orchestra performed the national anthem. The Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra, led by the mayor of Philadelphia, Ed Rendell. And it was, folks, I must tell you, I've heard a lot of national anthems. It was one of the most stirring performances we have seen in sports, at least in my years in sports. And with the humidity and everything, they'll be tuning those instruments until their Christmas concert. Stay tuned to us tonight. We hope to have a great night of baseball for you. Sean McDonough, Tim McCarver behind the mic. Jim Gray is here as well. Enjoy the game, everybody, here on CBS. It's Game 4, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Blue Jays. Have fun.
Look, a rainbow.
Where?
Over there.
Oh, there.
Don't you see it? I can, through my Panasonic Palm Quarter Color Viewfinder.
Where?
I hardly noticed it through my black and white viewfinder, but I'm sure I got it on tape.
Great, let's go see. Do your camcorder tapes play in a VHS recorder?
No.
Oh, well, my camcorder tapes will.
Oh.
So why didn't you just get a camcorder?
I don't know.
The choice is obvious. The Panasonic Palmcorder. Its tapes will play in your VCR.
We're giving it all we got now. Whatever it takes, we gotta make the moves.
Right now at Mazda, we're making all the moves to move the 93s with minimum discounts of $1,000 on 323, Protege, MX-6 Mystère, and Mazda trucks. A $2,000 minimum discount on 626 Kronos and the family-sized MPV. And a $4,000 minimum discount on the luxurious 929 Serenia. See dealers for details.
Whatever it takes, we gotta make the moves.
Blow the whistle. This cereal gets a major penalty for boring. Come on, when I'm up at 5 for practice, I need a taste hit to get me going. There's nothing that sets them apart. It's like they're playing short-handed. But what can you expect? They're only flakes. These are great. Simple. This cereal really scores. What a play.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes. This breakfast just went into overtime.
Taste them again for the first time.
In the classic tradition of Disney entertainment comes a gold medal winner for the whole family. Cool Runnings. It's the movie critics are calling the year's best family film.
I am feeling very Olympic today.
Cool Runnings. Now playing at a theater near you.
Good evening, everyone, from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where tonight the Philadelphia Phillies play host to the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 4 of the 1993 World Series. I'm Sean McDonough along with Tim McCarver, and it's great to have you with us. The big news again today leading up to Game 4, Cito Gaston's lineup. He has decided to go with Paul Molitor at third base, John Olerud at first, and Ed Sprague takes a seat on the bench. What about Molitor at third?
Well, I think you have to first consider the risk of whether he's going to get a ground ball or not. I think the risk at third is less getting a ground ball than it was last night at first, because the Phillies once again are loaded with left-handed sticks. They have 7 left-handed batters in the lineup. Now, if Molitor does get a ball at third, throwing could be an adventure.
He hasn't played third base in a regular season game since 1990, and during that season, he played only 2 games at that position. Another big question leading into the World Series for Cito Gaston was, would he use 3 starters or 4? He decided to go with 4. The 4th starter is Todd Stottlemyre, who had a record of below .500 during the regular season.
Well, you could say Stottlemyre is the starter, but the left-hander, Al Leiter, is the starter at large. Cito Gaston telling us that Stottlemyre, he'd love a complete game out of Stottlemyre, but Al Leiter will be in earlier than normal if Stottlemyre gets into trouble early, and the reason for that, he can combat the left-handed batters with the Phillies, possibly make Jim Fregosi make a couple of right-handed switches, and then make them more vulnerable later on in the ball game to right-handed pitching.
Stottlemyre was 11-12 during the regular season. As you saw, he'll be opposed tonight by the right-hander, Tommy Green. The first pitch from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia right after this.
Watch the world's biggest event on CTV this winter, the Olympic Games. Labatt presents the World Series on CTV, sponsored by Labatt Blue. Honest and true, you bet it's blue.
Hey, Dad! Feel like tossing the ball?
You bet.
Honey, could you give me a hand?
Yeah.
Dad, could you drive me to Karen's, please?
Right there.
Will we ever look forward to Mondays? What about mowing the lawn or going to the dentist? What about driving a station wagon? Will that ever be fun? Introducing the Volvo 850 Sports Wagon.
Let the cold winds blow. You'll be cozy and warm with new Seal and Strip from Mono. Clear, self-sealing Mono Seal and Strip. Seal and Strip seals on contact to prevent wind around windows and drafts around doors. And when it's no longer needed, Seal and Strip simply strips away. Try new Mono Seal and Strip and give drafts the runaround.
The SO Tiger team talks the details.
I think it's the little extra details that separate us from the other gas stations.
It's the small things like talking to the customer, using their name if you can.
Make sure you always have good eye contact.
One of the things that they teach us to do is if you're checking the oil, when you close the hood, then just take a clean towel and just wipe it off.
The service is number one, and then the details just top it off.
It's the little things that make us special.
You're on your way with SO.
For every week, there is a weekend. For every mortgage payment, there is a house you call home. And for every trip to the dry cleaners, the in-laws, or the pediatrician, there is now the 850 sports wagon from Volvo.
Field batting second, the center fielder Devon White. Roberto Alomar is the second baseman, batting third. The cleanup hitter, right fielder Joe Carter. Batting fifth at first base, John Olerud. Paul Molitor is the third baseman, batting sixth. Tony Fernandez at short hits seventh. The catcher Pat Borders bats eighth. And the pitcher Todd Stottlemyre will hit ninth.
The defense for the Phillies, Thompson, Dykstra, and Eisenreich in the outfield. Holland, Stocker, Duncan, and Kruk in the infield. Darren Dalton behind the plate, and Tommy Green on the mound. He pitches very well in this ballpark. 10-0 during the regular season and 1-1 in postseason with the clincher, pitching the clincher against the Braves last Wednesday night.
And as Tommy Green warms up, let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Sean, I spoke with Paul Molitor, and he told me that he feels about a half step off out in the field and that he's playing tentative. He told me that when he takes the field at third base tonight, that it'll be the first time in a long time that he will feel uncomfortable. He said he's not quite close to panic, but he is a little fearful. Sean?
And Paul told Jim Gray on the postgame interview last night that he did not expect to play today, and that was the stated game plan of Cito Gaston yesterday. But Cito said he spent all night last night wishing that Molitor could play third base. He talked to Paul again today during the day, and Molitor said, don't worry about being uncomfortable with playing third base affecting my hitting, because it won't. I've been around long enough to be able to separate defense from offense, and I won't let it affect my hitting. And once Gaston heard that, he said, all right, you're in. Charlie Williams, a 13-year veteran of the National League, is the home plate umpire. He's working his first World Series. Tim McClelland at first base, Dana DeMuth at second, Dave Phillips, the crew chief, at third, Paul Runge along the left field line, and Mark Johnson is in right. It is drizzling as the ball game begins, and once they get underway, the decision to stop play is in the hands of Dave Phillips, the crew chief. Here's Ricky Henderson, who had 2 hits last night, raising his mark for the World Series to 3 for 10. First pitch of game 4, fastball for strike 1. Ball low. A couple of times already Green has looked down at the mound. You saw him stop in the middle of one warm-up delivery and check out the mound, and he looked down immediately after that ball went in the dirt. Well hit toward the gap in left center, and in for a hit on the wet turf. It scoots to the warning track, and Ricky Henderson has a leadoff double.
Ricky Henderson led off last night's game with a base hit off Danny Jackson. And the one thing the Phillies do not want to do, they don't want to get their crowd out of the game early. And that's what happened last night when the Blue Jays scored 3 in the first.
Combination of the hour and 12-minute rain delay and the early rally by the Blue Jays really did take the crowd out of the game last night. As you could tell during our opening, the crowd is ready to go tonight. Devon White is the batter. And Green's first pitch to White is a ball low.
So many stories, connecting stories between these two ball clubs. Devon White, a roommate of the closer, Wild Thing, Mitch Williams. in winter ball about 7 years ago in Puerto Rico.
And Devon says, if anything, Mitch Williams has really calmed down since then. One can only imagine what he was like when he roomed with Devon White in winter ball. With the count 2-0, Dalton out to the mound. It wasn't all that long ago that it looked like Devon White's career was coming to a screeching halt when he was with the California Angels. Year to year, his statistics were going steadily downhill. Much of it the result of a personality conflict with then Angels manager Doug Rader. Devon White hit .217 for the Angels as recently as 1990 and was demoted to AAA during that season. Moved on to Toronto after the '90 season in a trade, and his career has been revitalized in a big way since then. And he walks on 4 pitches. And that'll bring John Kruk in to speak with Tommy Green. Green admitted to being anxious in his Game 2 start in the LCS against Atlanta. And he settled down and pitched very well in his other start against the Braves. Roberto Alomar is the batter.
I think what players look for, especially in postseason play, is controlled anxiety. And you're going to be anxious, you're going to be a little nervous, and that's good. Can't go overboard, however.
5 balls in a row thrown by Green. 1-0 on Alomar. He looks down at third base coach Nick Leyva, former Phillies manager. Alomar had a big night last night that was somewhat lost in all of the hoopla surrounding Paul Molitor's terrific performance. Alomar had 4 hits last night, 3 singles and a triple. Along the left field line, Milt Thompson in a foul ground to make the catch for the first out of the ball game.
Alomar's night last night was so good. He was 4 for 5, as you said, Sean. And for those with at least 100 at-bats in postseason play, before that at-bat, Alomar a .362 average, and that leads all players in postseason. Of course, it'll drop about 2 points with that foul out to Thompson, a huge out for Tommy Green and the Phillies.
Now Joe Carter 3 for 11 in the World Series. Joe hit a 2-run homer in Game 2 off Terry Mulholland. No score, just underway in the top of the first. The Blue Jays threatening with first and second and 1 out. Green's 1-0. Well hit. Great play by Hollins. And then his lob throw was not in time at second. White slid by the bag, but Duncan didn't realize it. And the bases are loaded with 1 out. Hollins made a terrific stop of the smash, but then couldn't get off a good throw.
Yeah, the stop was so good, buried in the glove. He couldn't get it out of the glove, and a little lollipop toss to Duncan. Duncan was trying to avoid the runner, Devon White, to the degree that he came off the bag and failed to follow up as White slides past the bag, and by the time Duncan went back to tag him, Devon had recovered. Brilliant play by Hollins, but the throw not in time at second. And Duncan's all right. A hard slide, a clean slide, but a hard one by White.
You would think Duncan would have seen that White went by the bag, since he went spinning right around and appeared to be looking right down at him. John Olerud, who did not play last night, looked at ball 1 down and in. He went 2 for 6 in the first 2 games at Skydome.
When a third baseman has problems getting the ball out of his glove like that, the second baseman realizes that the runner has time to get down to him, and he's trying to get off the bag and get the call. That's why he didn't see White slide past the bag. 2-0
on Olerud. Danny Jackson roughed up for 3 runs in the first inning last night. That set the tone for the ball game, and now Green is in trouble in the first inning tonight, and that's not much of a surprise. He had his problems for Jim Fregosi in first innings throughout the year, an ERA of nearly 7. A pop-up. Infield fly rule in effect. Truck made the catch in fair territory for the second out. If you're scoring, credit Joe Carter with an infield hit on the smash down to third to Dave Hollins. And the 6th batter of the first inning is Paul Molitor. 6 for 11 in the 3 games to this point. He had 3 hits last night, a 2-run triple in the first, a solo homer in the third, and an infield hit in the 9th. Ball 1, low and away. Molitor said he did not feel comfortable at first base at any time last night, but yet it did not affect his hitting, and that's the point he made to Cito Gaston, trying to convince the manager that he could handle third base without it affecting his hitting tonight. In the dirt, blocked by Dalton, and the runners have no chance to advance. 2-0. The count on Molitor with the bases loaded.
Molitor also with some interesting comments in the paper today. He said that his hit that drove in 2 runs, the triple in the first inning last night, helped him relax on defense. He's in another position where a hit would help him relax on defense.
No score, top of the first. 2 outs and the bases loaded. The 2-0 to Molitor is ball 3. And Green hasn't come close with any of the 3 pitches to Molitor. Green has to come in with a strike, and he did not. He walks Molitor on 4 pitches to force in a run, and the Blue Jays lead 1-0. And pitching coach Johnny Podres is on his way to the mound.
Tommy Green has had 2 opportunities to get out of this inning without Toronto scoring. He got the pop-up the other way from Alomar, great clutch hitter, and then he got the pop-up, the infield fly rule, to John Olerud, a great clutch hitter, and then threw 4 straight balls to Molitor.
Ricky Henderson scored on the bases loaded walk to Molitor. It is Molitor's 5th RBI of the World Series. And the 7th batter of the first inning is Tony Fernandez. He's 4 for 9. He had 2 hits last night. A pair of singles. He drove in 2 runs. Five in a row outside the strike zone by Green, who has walked 2 here in the first and has surrendered 2 hits.
You notice how all 5 pitches out of the strike zone have been low. It looks like Tommy Green is choking the ball. A lot of times when you are anxious and nervous, you're not throwing the ball normally. You have a tendency to grip it too tightly.
Well hit, base hit. White is in. Carter will score. And the Blue Jays, for the 2nd straight night, have taken a 3-0 lead in the first. A 2-run single by Tony Fernandez.
Frankie Frisch used to say, oh, those bases on balls. 5 straight balls and a fat fastball to Tony Fernandez, and he certainly takes advantage of it. Molitor to third has 2-run score, and the Blue Jays have already equaled last night's first inning.
6 runs batted in for Fernandez in the World Series. That leads all players. Pat Borders just 2 for 12. We saw a moment ago on a shot of Tommy Green that he has writing on the bill of his cap underneath. He has written on his hat the word aggressive. but that really wouldn't describe his pitching here in the first inning. It really looked like he was nibbling to several of the Blue Jay big hitters.
Very tentative.
Line to left. Thompson on the run makes the catch. After a half inning in Philadelphia, the Blue Jays 3 and the Phillies coming up.
Since Audio Warehouse opened in 1964, technology has changed drastically. If your TV hasn't, step into the 21st century at Audio Warehouse. Audio Warehouse is committed to bringing you only the most respected names in television. Names like Sony, everything from 9 to 53 inches, including the incredible Sony XBR², a television that will change the way you see the world. Now at Audio Warehouse. Audio Warehouse, making TV worth watching since 1964.
Here's 2 more reasons why all trucks are not created equal. Ford trucks offer split bench seating, power lumbar, and improved Super Cab rear seating. Plus, get 3.9 financing up to 48 months, but only till October 22nd and only at your Ford and Mercury dealer. Here's 2 more reasons why all trucks are not created equal. Buy selected Ford pickups and get the V8 engine upgrade and handling package at no extra charge. Plus, get 3.9 financing up to 48 months, but only till October 22nd and only at your Ford and Mercury dealer.
Now, it's time for the Coldwell Banker World Series Flashback. Coldwell Banker, together with Canada Trust Realty, the new power in Canadian real estate.
October 21st, 1992. Game 4 of the World Series. And the Blue Jays go 2 games up on the Atlanta Braves.
Another great chance to score as Glavine delivers to Devon White. Base hit left field. Rupers being waved in. Gant with the throw to the plate. Justice with a high fly ball, not very deep. Maldonado is there. The Blue Jays win, and they lead the World Series 3 games to 1. Lenny Dykstra leading off and playing center field, batting second. The second baseman Mariano Duncan. John Kruk is the first baseman, batting third. The cleanup hitter, third baseman Dave Hollins, batting fifth and doing the catching, Darren Dalton. Jim Eisenreich in right field hits sixth. Milt Thompson is in the lineup tonight in left field, batting seventh. Kevin Stockard, the shortstop, hits eighth, and the pitcher Tommy Green bats ninth.
The defense for the Toronto Blue Jays: Ricky Henderson, the left fielder, Devon White in center, and Joe Carter in right. Paul Molitor at third base. He's the key defensively. Tony Fernandez at shortstop. Roberto Alomar at second. John Olerud at first, and Pat Borders behind the plate. Todd Stottlemyre on the mound, 11 and 12 during the regular season, but an earned run average around 5. And Cito Gaston telling us before the game, you really don't know how Todd is going to do. You don't know whether he's going to try to be a thrower or a pitcher. If he gets breaking balls over early in the count, then that's a good sign. But if he tries to blow the ball by the hitters, that is not a good sign, and I think you can look for Al Leiter if any signs of trouble in the early innings.
Particularly now that the Blue Jays are off to a quick lead. Stottlemyre started with a looping breaking ball to Lenny Dykstra, who has 6 home runs in the postseason as a leadoff batter, tying Hank Bauer and Davey Lopes for most home runs by a leadoff man in postseason play. And he has 1 home run in this World Series. He's 4 for 13, 1 for 5 last night. Up high, 3-0. Cito Gaston said, as Tim said, Stottlemyre needs to get the breaking ball over, but also change speeds. He has the tendency to rear back and try to throw everything hard. He has considerable talent, and it's been frustrating to the Blue Jays that he hasn't put it all together. And he starts on an ominous note, walking Dykstra on 4 pitches.
In order to be a pitcher and not a thrower, you have to stay ahead. You have to throw strikes early in the count so you can utilize your breaking ball. That is a bad sign for the Blue Jays. They score 3 runs, and Stottlemyre comes out and throws 4 straight balls.
Now Duncan, who's had a terrific series, 6 for 14. Taking all the way, he looked at a breaking ball for strike one. Larry Boa is the Philadelphia third base coach.
Mariano Duncan, an excellent bunter. We'll see if he takes advantage of Molitor at third base. He likes to lay the ball down and drag it. And the Phillies, if they get a lead, you wonder if they go out of their game plan and sacrifice more and try to bunt the ball down to Molitor, make him become involved in the action. But when you're 3-0 down, you can't do that.
High fly, shallow right for Joe Carter. One out, and Dykstra returns to first. We're in the bottom of the first, 3-0 Toronto. The top of the order has not been the problem for Philadelphia as they trail in the World Series 2-1. Dykstra, Duncan, and Kruk have combined to hit .436, but the rest of the team is hitting only .250. Kruk is the leading hitter in the World Series, 7 for 12, a .583 average.
Middle of the order has been killing the Phillies. 4, 5, and 6 spots, batting .198 for the first 3 games. They have got to have production from the middle of the order, as most teams do.
You raised the point about bunting, perhaps trying to exploit Paul Molitor. Molitor before the game said he didn't expect that the Phillies would do that. He says they're an aggressive hitting team. They don't like to bunt. I doubt that they'll go away from what has been so successful for them during the year. Breaking ball missed, 2-1 on Kruk.
An interesting note about Todd Stottlemyre and ground balls to third base. He has worked 176 2/3 innings this year, and there have been 33 balls fielded by the third baseman. That's about 1 every 5 innings. And with the left-handers the Phillies have up there, you'd have to think it was going to be less in this ball game. Unless you get a guy like Al Leiter in there, a left-hander, and then the Phillies move their right-handers in there, and that could change the picture. Something to think about.
Dykstra has 1 stolen base in the World Series in his only attempt. Blake Sprague did not have a single chance at third base last night. Check swing, looked like a good pitch. Called ball 3 by Charlie Williams.
Change up, just missed. I mean, just outside.
The camera does not lie. The 3-1 is a strike. Dykstra runs. There is no throw. And Lenny Dykstra has his second stolen base of the World Series.
With a count 3 balls and a strike, the catcher has a tendency to stay behind the plate a little longer than he would normally do. And the reason for that, he wants the strike. Borders stayed back there a little longer, and Dykstra steals uncontested.
And the payoff to Kruk, he struck him out. Good fastball by Stottlemyre for the second out of the inning. First strikeout of the night for Stottlemyre.
That's the best fastball he's thrown so far. Little extra giddy up on this one, and in a good spot. Outside corner.
Dykstra is at second with 2 outs. 3-0 Toronto in the first. Here's Dave Hollins, part of that struggling middle third of the Philadelphia order. He's 2 for 11 with only 1 RBI through the first 3 games. Hitting coach Dennis Menke thinks Hollins is trying to hit the ball too hard. Perhaps he has a little extra adrenaline flow in the World Series.
It's the same for pitchers and hitters. Pitchers who don't pitch well try to throw it too hard, and hitters who don't hit well try to hit it too hard. If you're a hitter and you're trying for those 5-run homers, that's not the right formula.
Good pitch. 1-2 on Hollins. Galen Cisco is the Toronto pitching coach. Former football captain at Ohio State. Captain of a Rose Bowl team in the late 50s. The 1-2 is high.
Toronto trying to pitch Dave Hollins inside, and usually with big, powerful hitters, that's where you try to work them in tight. They like to extend their arms.
Breaking ball just low. The count is full. Fastball low. And Hollins draws the second walk of the inning thrown by Stottlemyre. Green walked 2 in the top of the inning, and the Blue Jays made him pay. So the tying run is at the plate. Here's another struggling Philly. Darren Dalton 2 for 12. Dennis Menke thinks his problem is that he hasn't been seeing the ball well enough, that perhaps his stance was too close, so they've gone to a more open stance. He took extra batting practice yesterday. Dykstra at second. He drew the first walk of the inning thrown by Stottlemyre, stole second, and Todd walked Hollins with 2 outs. Stottlemyre is 28 years old, from Yakima, Washington. 6'3", 195 pounds. He misses low and in. And that brings Borders to the mound with the count 2-0.
Sean, you mentioned Darren Dalton's problems. Some of those problems could go back to 18 months ago when he had the car accident with Lenny Dykstra, returning from John Kruk's bachelor party. And he still has, at times, double vision in his left eye. It's not a serious problem, but it does bother him on occasion. And that could add to his woes here in the World Series.
The 2-0 is ball 3. And Stottlemyre is in danger of walking the bases loaded.
Jim Fregosi allows his power hitters to be swinging 3-0.
Three and 1 now. Certainly didn't look as if Dalton was taking all the way.
No.
He might have taken a rip if it was a pitch he could handle. That's ball 4 long. 3 walks have loaded the bases for Philadelphia in the first. The Blue Jays lead 3-0. Here comes Galen Cisco to the mound. There is no action in the Toronto bullpen. Jim Fregosi thought the key to last night's game was after Toronto scored the 3 runs in the top of the first inning. His team then squandered a great chance to score in the bottom of the first when they had runners at second and third and only 1 out. Fregosi said even if we only got 1 run in that instance, we would have felt like we were right back into the ball game. We would have had a little bit of momentum. Danny Jackson didn't pitch all that poorly after the first inning, but they did not score, and that set the tone for the rest of the night.
Yeah, the thing about that is you answer immediately. They score 3 and you come back with 1 or 2, you're very much more in the game. And if you were to end up with a 0, and the Phillies are facing that same problem right now.
Jim Eisenreich leads the Phillies in runs batted in with 5 through the first 3 games. Many of the fans on their feet, bases loaded, with 2 outs in the first, and the breaking ball missed low and in.
crowd has returned.
Eisenreich had the big hit in game 2. A 3-run homer in the 3rd inning that gave Philadelphia a 5-0 lead, a lead the Phillies never relinquished. He takes all the way, and Stottlemyre poured it over. 2-1. Ball 3. Full count with 2 outs, and the runners will be off with the payoff pitch. Todd Stottlemyre is 1 ball away from his 4th walk of the inning and walking in a run. He's also 1 strike away from getting out of this inning unscathed. The pitch. Low. Ball 4, walk 4, 3-1 Toronto. Still no action in the Toronto bullpen.
And that's a surprise to me from what Cito Gaston told us before tonight's game. And as you pointed out, Sean, especially with the 3-run lead. Because the Phillies are going to continue to throw up left-handed batters to face Stottlemyre.
And if they stay true to their season-long form, they'll remain very patient and make Stottlemyre prove that he can throw strikes consistently. Thompson took the first pitch, as you might expect, and looked at a ball low. The Phillies have scored without a hit. It's 3-1 Toronto in the bottom of the first. Four walks in an inning ties a World Series record. 3 consecutive walks ties a World Series record. High, 2-0. Stottlemyre has thrown 31 pitches in the first, 21 of them balls. And time has been called. Tony Fernandez has summoned the equipment man. Might be having a problem with a contact lens.
I assume that's legitimate. Tony appears, you know, you don't know whether Tony, an experienced player, is just trying to break things up a little bit with the thinking that with Stottlemyre in that rhythm, he hasn't been able to find the plate.
If that's the case, he's taking one for the club. 1 eye drop or 2, that is. But you wonder if this would help or hurt Stottlemyre. Certainly he's not in a groove right now. But this delay also might give him more time to think about the problems that he is having.
Like a field goal kicker.
Right. With this start tonight, Todd Stottlemyre and his father Mel have made history as the only father and son pitchers to start World Series games. Mel Stottlemyre started 3 games for the Yankees in 1964 against the Cardinals. 1-1, had a no decision in 1 and lost game 7 to Bob Gibson. He went head-to-head 3 times with Gibson. Todd Stottlemyre just threw strike 1. 2-1, the count on Thompson, the 7th batter of the inning. Well, maybe the delay helped. All of a sudden, Stottlemyre has thrown 2 strikes. 2-2 with 2 outs and the bases loaded. 3-1 Toronto in the first. In the air to center. Devon White racing back at the wall. Can't get it. Hollins has scored. Dalton is in. Here comes Eisenreich. Thompson is at third and the Phillies lead.
Bases clearing triple for Milt Thompson. Coming into the postseason, Thompson had not had an extra base hit since August 25th. And in postseason, he has doubled, homered, and his biggest hit, a triple. And Devon White appears to be all right, as that right ankle appears to be stuck in that padding in center field. And then coming down, his right foot appeared to turn over, but he appears to be all right. And still no activity in the bullpen, and I cannot believe that.
Nor can I. 4 walks, a triple, 8 batter of the inning. Kevin Stocker, he bounced one foul. He went up there swinging at the first pitch, despite all the control troubles of Stottlemyre. So it's 4 runs on 1 hit for Philadelphia, 3 runs on 3 hits for Toronto. And what a first inning this has been. It's the first time in World Series history, in fact, that each team has scored 3 runs or more in the first inning. Lollipop curve missed. 1-1. Still no action. And you saw Al Leiter throw his hands up, perhaps as if to suggest, why isn't there somebody warming up?
I'm ready if you need me.
In many living rooms around Canada right now.
Yeah.
Well, Cito Gaston is known to be very patient with his starters. Sometimes too patient, in the opinion of his critics.
Patience over a 162-game season is a lot different than patience over a 7-game maximum World Series.
The 1-2 pitch. Slapped down to first. Olerud wins the race to the base, and that ends a wild first inning. After 1, the Phillies 4, the Blue Jays 3.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Imperial Oil and Esso Associates. You're on your way with Esso.
This is the office where our Ford truck engineers get a lot of work done. Because by knowing firsthand how a full-size pickup ought to work, they can make it work even better. That's why the Ford F-Series now has a new standard airbag, standard anti-lock brakes, and constant ideas to make tough even tougher. More proof that at Ford, we're looking ahead and looking to stay ahead. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
I'm here to play football for the Irish.
Our first teams are going to pound on you like you're their worst enemy. So if any of you has any fantasies about running out of that stadium tunnel with your gold helmet shining in the sun, you best leave them right here. The greatest value to us is we don't care whether you get hurt.
From the creators of Hoosiers, a true story, Rudy.
Now playing in select cities, starts Friday in a theater near you.
Up on the padding with his right foot. You'll notice that something falls down there. That is, it was not thrown from the stands, but it was one of the things that held the partitions together out there, the little coupler, and it fell off, I guess, a fastener of sorts to fasten those partitions together. And it's one of the grounds crew members took it off the field, but that partition is without a coupler now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
4-3 Philadelphia after 1 inning. Todd Stottlemyre leads off. And Tommy Green level with his opposite number at 1-1. Cito Gaston says his foremost concern about his pitchers when they're at the plate is that they avoid getting hurt. Matt Gillick, the general manager, talked about the very real possibility that an American League pitcher unaccustomed to batting could get hurt in this situation.
I think that's one of the advantages that the Phillies have tonight. Tommy Green's an excellent hitter, and he is facing Todd Stottlemyre, his first major league at bat.
And Todd has worked the count full. Green walked 2 himself in the first inning. Gave up 3 hits, leading to 3 Toronto runs. Then he looks down at the mound as he delivered ball 4. So just after his teammates get him off the hook and hand him the lead, he makes the huge mistake of walking the pitcher leading off the inning.
I mean, if something's wrong with the mound, you get it fixed. I mean, you bring out the ground crew. There's no sense in continuing looking down at it as though it's the mound's fault. I mean, you get it fixed. Is something wrong or is it not wrong?
There are solutions to the problem.
Right.
If the mound is in a state of disrepair. Right now it's each pitcher's control that is in a state of disrepair. Green has walked 3. Stottlemyre 4. We've played an inning plus 1 batter. With the 6 bases on balls between these two teams in the first inning, that tied a World Series record for most bases on balls in an inning by both clubs. They have to go all the way back to 1926 to find the last time it happened. Rickey Henderson up there with a count of 1-1. He started the 3-run Toronto first with a double to center field. He scored the first of the 3 runs. We have word from the Toronto dugout that Tony Fernandez has gone to the clubhouse. Apparently he still has something in his eye. And they're trying to ease his discomfort. 1-2 now on Henderson. Good change of speeds by Green. Stottlemyre at first, representing the tying run with nobody out in the second. 4-3 Philadelphia. Breaking ball just outside. Green is from Whiteville, North Carolina. We've been saying Lumberton during the postseason because that's the town in which he was born. And he was raised in Whiteville, a few miles from Lumberton.
They didn't have a hospital in Whiteville.
Probably not. The good folks of Whiteville are proud to call Tommy Green their own. And the count is full on Henderson.
Interesting situation here. If you're Cito Gaston, do you send an inexperienced base runner who's your starting pitcher with a count 3-2 and nobody out to Rickey Henderson?
I would doubt it, since he has expressed so much concern in this series about players getting injured. Stottlemyre is not running, and it's fouled out of play to the right.
Well, if that's true, if he's not running and you detect he's not running, there are ways to combat everything in baseball. If you're Jim Fregosi, why not play John Kruk behind Stottlemyre? if there's almost no chance of him running, and he certainly wasn't running on that pitch. May not make a difference with a right-hander up there, but with Devon White up there, it could.
Popped up and playable. Kruk fighting the drizzle, made the catch. You can see by the way he is hobbling back into the infield that his lower back is still bothering him. That's the first out of the second. Game one went to Toronto. Roberto Alomar was the star with his defense and a 2-run double. Jim Eisenreich had the big hit of game two, a 3-run homer capping a 5-run Philadelphia third. The Phillies even the series, and then last night Paul Molitor paced the 10-run Toronto attack. Devon White looked at a strike. He walked and scored in the first. Ball and a good block by Dalton. 1-1 on White. Tony Fernandez is now back in the Toronto dugout, seated alongside Ricky Henderson. We're in the top of the second. The Phillies lead 4-3. Good breaking ball, 1-2. White will be followed by Roberto Alomar. And with Devon at the plate, John Kruk has been playing a couple of steps behind Todd Stottlemyre, the runner at first. Green came inside and missed with the fastball. 2-2 on White.
That's what Tommy Green has to do. He has to work both sides of the plate with the fastball. As you can see, that ball clearly inside. But when Tommy Green gets into trouble, he's like most pitchers, he finds the fat part of the plate. Doesn't matter how hard you throw, location is vital in getting hitters out. And working both sides of the plate is the best way to get hitters out.
Another full count. Tommy Green has already thrown 40 pitches. Stottlemyre threw 38 pitches in the first, and that is strike 3. It was a swing and a miss, not a foul tip. Dalton applied the tag for the second out of the inning. First strikeout of the night for Tommy Green.
Looked like the ball was on the inside part of the plate, a cross-seam fastball. And he gets Devon White for the first strikeout of the night for Tommy Green. Looked like White was just over that pitch.
Dalton did apply the tag, but with the runner at first, there was no need. Alomar took the breaking ball low and inside. Roberto made the first out of the first inning. He was out in a fly ball to Bill Thompson, foul ground and left. 4 runs, 1 hit for Philadelphia. 3 runs and 3 hits for Toronto. Neither team has committed an error. 2-0. Cito Gaston and Jim Fregosi. Noted earlier in the series, they belong to the same country club in Florida, and they'll have a lot to talk about during the offseason.
A lot of 19th hole material.
First inning alone would be a couple hours worth of rehashing. Chopped up the middle, base hit. Stottlemyre around second, and he'll try for third after hesitating. Stalker's relay out at third. He who hesitates is out, and that's the case for Stottlemyre, who may be hurt.
If you're looking for a way to move around a large group and a few of their things, check out a Chevy Astro. It offers enough cargo space to equip an all-star hockey team and enough room to comfortably seat a forward line, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. That's included. And with standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes,
Astro makes it a snap. Gee! Getting the home team safely home. Watch the knees, watch the knees.
Many you'll never meet.
Bill Hughes, mechanic.
Some you may remember for making a difference on your last trip.
Lorna Fraser, flight attendant.
But the one thing the over 17,000 men and women of Canadian Airlines have in common
Kelly Shaw, maintenance.
is the shared belief that you have the right to a choice of airline.
Joe Harmon, welder.
And they're doing everything they can to make sure you do.
Nothing feels better than getting together for that good old charbroiled taste. There's only one place that gives you that great charbroiled taste.
Half an order of French fries, half onion rings. They're frings, and they're everyone's favorite things. And for a limited time, they're just 99 cents. 99-cent frings. Come on, get into Harvey's today.
Yeah, we make it spoiled, the charbroiled.
The new Camaro. Ladies and gentlemen, let the good times roll.
You're looking live at Todd Stottlemyre, who is still in the Toronto dugout. He just arrived in the dugout, spending all the commercial time on the field, being tended to. You saw the cut on his chin as a result of this play at third.
This is the most aggressive base running by an inexperienced base runner that you will ever see. The tag was hard. Stottlemyre tried to decoy Lenny Dykstra. It is cut off by Kevin Stocker. The throw is on the money. The tag is hard, but it appeared that he scraped his chin going over the bag.
And he slammed his own chin into the ground even before Hollins put the tag on him.
Yeah,
He
right.
was still chin to the ground after the bag, but it looked like perhaps his inexperience in sliding caused him to scrape his own chin before the tag was even made.
It's interesting that a pitcher is usually used to giving chin music and handing it out instead of receiving it.
Well, he gave it in this instance to himself. Well, the good news is he's going to be okay and will continue on. Bloodied by the Phillies in the first was Todd Stottlemyre, and by his own control trouble. Now that goes back to the point we were making about Cito Gaston, is concerned that his pitchers would be hurt while batting or running the bases, and it didn't take long for that to become a reality. Fortunately, in this instance, not a serious injury. This is game 4. There's one game remaining to be played in this series here at the Vet, and it's tomorrow night. 8 o'clock airtime on CBS. That's Eastern time, with the first pitch at 8:12. And then game 6 and 7, if necessary, at Sky Dome Saturday and Sunday. Ron White and Joe Carter waiting as Stottlemyre warms up.
Obviously, it was not a good base running play, but because of Stottlemyre's inexperience, you tend to overlook that. He appeared to just get caught up in the excitement of the moment. Certainly trying to go to third base in that situation is not a good play, but pitchers aren't trained, especially American League pitchers. They rarely even talk about it. The only time they think about it is when they're on the mound and somebody tries to do that against them.
If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot. Toronto scored 3 in the first. Tony Fernandez highlighted the inning with a 2-run single. Paul Molitor's walk with the bases loaded brought the first run in. Then in the bottom of the first, Jim Eisenreich walked with the bases loaded. The 4th walk of the inning thrown by Stottlemyre to make it 3-1. And then with the bases loaded, Milt Thompson ripped the triple off the fence in center to score 3. And it's 4-3 Philadelphia as the Phillies come up in the second with batters 9, 1, and 2. Tommy Green, the pitcher, then Lenny Dykstra and Mariano Duncan. Tim mentioned that Green is a good hitter, and those numbers proved the point. A .222 average and 2 home runs. He drove in 10 during the regular season. Breaking ball for strike 1.
Sean, I've seen Milt Thompson play in the National League for 7 years, and I don't think I've ever seen him hit a ball as far to center field as he hit that triple.
Green lives up to his advanced billing. The line single into center field. Just the second hit for Philadelphia. And let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Sean, Todd Stottlemyre has a laceration and an abrasion above just below his chin. He came to third base here, and he was dazed. Tommy Craig told us he didn't quite know where he was. They were unable to stop the bleeding during the timeout, so they're going to have to attend to him again during the half inning. Sean?
No bandage on the cut. And you could see Stottlemyre wiping the blood on his jersey. He is still bleeding from that cut. Lenny Dykstra took a strike on the outside corner. He walked, leading off the Philadelphia first, stole second, and scored, and he's none too pleased with the call of Charlie Williams.
He thought it was outside, and you notice he's looking toward the field. That's what players do when they argue with an umpire and try not to show him up.
Well hit down the right field line toward the pole. It is a home run. Of the Phillies and his chin, Todd Stottlemyre can't do anything to stop the bleeding.
Fair. Dykstra led the Phillies with home runs against right-handed pitchers this year. He had 17, and belatedly the bullpen is up. It looks like Al Leiter throwing down there, but in my opinion, it's too late.
Still nobody out in the second. 6-3 Philadelphia. Duncan the batter. Mariano looked at a ball low. It's 2-0. It is Al Leiter warming up under the watchful eye of bullpen coach John Sullivan. Devon White. 1 out.
I guess baseball managers have game plans like football coaches, and for some reason it appears that Cito Gaston went away from his game plan of using Leiter immediately to back up Stottlemyre, after explaining that to us before the game.
John Kruk, the hitter, he tomahawks one to second. And Roberto Alomar threw him out.
Of course, that's by no means. There's still a lot of baseball left to play, and the Blue Jays are a very explosive offensive team. And if they can get to the Phillies bullpen, they could do more damage. Tommy Green now with a 3-run cushion after staking the Blue Jays to same in the first inning. What a
Green
game.
has by no means dazzled through the first 2 innings. Hollins walked and scored during the 4-run first. And he looked at ball 1 high. 6-3 Philadelphia in the second. 6 runs, 3 hits for the Phillies, 3 runs, 4 hits for the Blue Jays. Low and perhaps a little bit inside. The 2-1 pitch is a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases empty. 2 runs in this inning for Philadelphia on the home run by Lenny Dykstra. It was the second home run in the World Series for Dykstra. The payoff pitch upcoming as Stottlemyre missed inside with the 2-2. Philadelphia before he took the mound tonight. Ed Rendell, the Philadelphia mayor, went to Sky Dome before Game 2 talking to some reporters. He said, "I'd like to bat against Todd Stottlemyre." Rendell saw a home run that Stottlemyre surrendered to Frank Thomas in the ALCS. He said, "I could hit him." Stottlemyre said he'd pay his own way down here to Philadelphia to pitch to him when the World Series was over. Borders catches the pop-up, and that ends the inning. And a 2-run homer by Dykstra gives Philadelphia a 6-3 lead.
With no heat pasteurizing and no added preservatives, it's Canada's own cold-filtered Labatt Genuine Draft.
Yeah, this is nice. Like the seats. Lots of room, that's good. Whoa, lots of room back there, too. Ride's smooth. Real smooth. They must have fixed this road.
Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Even when it's just barely a road at all.
I learned to hit with the broomstick and ball cap. That cap would spin and curve, and that made me a good hitter. What I enjoyed most was putting the uniform on every day, just playing baseball. One of the greatest honors of baseball, getting in the Hall of Fame. Well, I've been American Express member since 1974.
American Express is welcomed at the Hall of Fame and a lot of other places that bring out the kid in you.
This man is no ordinary man. He sets the prices at Canadian Tire, prices that get noticed, prices that have impact. He keeps prices especially low on many of the brands you use most. No, this is not a sale. It's everyday low prices like these Rubbermaid laundry baskets, only $2.99 each. And save every day on value pack light bulbs, just 99 cents each. So please, don't be alarmed. He just likes doing his job. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire for a lot less.
Join CTV as the world's youth assembles in Lillehammer for the Olympic Winter Games.
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, Pat O'Brien, and Jim Gray back at Veterans Stadium, where the Phillies have bloodied Todd Stottlemyre for 6 runs, and they lead 6-3. As the Blue Jays bat in the top of the 3rd, Joe Carter leads off. He had an infield hit on a hot smash down to 3rd in the 1st inning, and he scored the 3rd Toronto run. That's a very high pop-up up into the drizzle. And the most significant breeze of the series. Obviously, isn't any breeze except for the air conditioning at Sky Dome. It's a much windier evening here tonight than it was last night.
And the rain coming down too, Sean. Often on a routine pop-up, an infielder looks up there and it looks like 1,000 baseballs that are coming down. You just hope you catch the right one.
Flags would indicate that the breeze is blowing in, but in this circular stadium, sometimes the flags are deceiving. John Olerud, the batter. And he looked at ball 1 low. He popped out to the first baseman Kruk his first time up. Bit on the cool side as well here tonight. That young fan came well prepared. Ball 2, 2-1. And Al Leiter is still throwing. Stottlemyre would be the 6th batter of the inning. Strike 2, 2-2. Throughout his career, Todd Stottlemyre has had to deal with adversity. He's been labeled by many an underachiever because he has considerable talent. He's a hard thrower. Good movement on his pitches. When he is on top of his game, he can be dominated. Todd says no matter what people say about him and no matter how tough the times are, he has learned to handle the situation because of some tragic circumstances earlier in his life. When he was 15 years old, his 11-year-old brother Jason died after a 4-year battle with leukemia. Todd Stottlemyre says, every time I go between the lines, I know Jason is watching. During the battle, Todd Stottlemyre was the person who donated his bone marrow to help Jason along. They were extremely close. Paul Molitor is the hitter, with Olerud at first and 1 out. Well, 1-0 to Molitor. Rare swing at a bad ball by Paul, and it's 1-1. Green has issued 4 walks now, at least 1 in every inning. Chop foul. 1-2.
I think with Olerud at first base, it's another time to play John Kruk behind the runner. Molitor hits the ball the other way. He uses all parts of the field in which to hit. Olerud did not attempt a stolen base all year.
He is extremely slow. As a matter of fact, John said during the regular season that's the biggest reason why he thought it would not be possible for him to hit 400. That you need to get infield hits and leg hits, and he's not capable of doing that with as slow as he is.
I'll tell you, leading the American League in hitting, he certainly earned it. Very few leggers.
There was so much talk last night about Olerud, leading hitter in the league, sitting out. But if Molitor had been the one to sit out tonight, would have been the second leading hitter in the league. Who had to go to the bench. He does go to the right side, and it's in for a hit. Eisenreich, a good play to stop it on the wet turf. and he'll hold Molitor to a long single. Olerud to third on the play. So here come the Jays right back at the Phils with first and third and one out.
Molitor going to right field. A fine play by Jim Eisenreich to cut this ball off on the wet turf and to position himself to make a good throw to second base and hold Molitor to a single.
So once again, the Blue Jays will bring the tying run to the plate. Tony Fernandez, who singled to right to drive in 2 in the first. He has 5 hits in the series and 6 runs batted in. He and Jim Eisenreich are the series leaders in runs batted in with 6 apiece. Tommy Green's first pitch to Fernandez, up and away.
If both teams go to the bullpen, the obvious advantage would go to the Blue Jays. The Phillies early and middle relief have been a very, very big problem with them all season long. So that's why it's very important for the Phillies and Jim Fregosi to get a lot of mileage out of Tommy Green this evening.
Green has already thrown 60 pitches. And he's only 1 out into the third. Green is 26 years old. Big fella at 6'5", 219 pounds. Started his career in the Atlanta organization. Was out of options, so they put him in the trade to Philadelphia, along with Dale Murphy, Jeff Parrott, Jim Batcher, and Victor Rosario, and to the Braves in August of 1990.
Was nicely framed by Darren Dalton. If you're a catcher and you get a backdoor slider, the one thing you want to do is hold the glove there when you make the catch. See how Dalton just holds it and gives Williams a chance to make the call. That ball right on the corner.
Perhaps Dalton was set up just outside that time. 2-2.
Well, when the pitcher is that much ahead of the batter, a catcher will set up a little bit off the plate and hope to get the ball about 2 or 3 inches off the plate, and that's where that ball was. Just wide.
So level the count at 2-2. Borders is on deck, and then Stottlemyer's scheduled. The count is full.
I think you'll see Molitor running here, even though the Blue Jays are down 3-2. By sending the runner on a ground ball hit to the middle infielders, you do prevent the double play.
Fernandez is a very tough man to strike out. He only whiffed 26 times and 353 at-bats after joining Toronto from the Mets. So Molitor does run, and Fernandez lobs one to right. It falls for a hit. Olerud is in, Molitor to third, and the Blue Jays are within 2 at 6-4. Tony Fernandez with his 3rd RBI of the night.
Molitor running, and it was a slider to Fernandez. And he pops it into right field. He is now 6 for 10 on the series with 7 RBIs.
And here comes Johnny Padres, the pitching coach, to the mound. There is action. In the Philadelphia bullpen, it's right-hander Roger Mason. Of course, Fregosi had to dip into his bullpen early last night. Used Ben Rivera and Bobby Thigpen more than an inning. Larry Anderson came in to finish off. Fregosi said it's possible we'll see David West earlier than his usual role in the 7th or 8th inning tonight because of the depleted bullpen.
You get the feeling that both teams are going into double figures tonight in runs scored.
I think so.
We might have one of those 12-10 deals.
Last walk wins. The way this one has gone. Borders the batter. He is the go-ahead run at the plate. The tying run is at first. And still only 1 out in the 3rd. Todd Stottlemyre is standing in the on-deck circle. But there is action in the Toronto bullpen. Al Leiter again. That indicates that at the very least Cito Gaston is thinking very seriously about batting with Stottlemyre. And why wouldn't he be? Stottlemyre has struggled mightily to this point. Base hit. And it's a 1-run game. Borders a single to left. Molitor in from 3rd. It's 6-5. First RBI of the World Series for last year's World Series MVP, Pat Borders.
Hanging breaking ball to Borders. Hollins way off the line at third base, but Borders finds a hole. All 3 singles, Molitor, Fernandez, and Borders have been hit very, very hard, and that might be all for Tommy Green, and I think it will be.
It will be, and it will be all for Todd Stottlemyre as well, as he has been pulled back for a pinch hitter. Rob Butler was introduced as the hitter, and Roger Mason will be summoned by Jim Fregosi. With the score, the Phillies 6 and the Blue Jays 5 will return to Philadelphia right after this.
Serious athlete or just staying in shape? Improve your overall fitness level by cross-training. Make it a part of your day-to-day fitness routine at any of Saskatoon's indoor leisure centers.
Accidents happen. Here's what you do. Report the accident to SGI. Bring the white sheet that you get from them to the body shop at Sherwood Chevrolet. We will order the required parts. When they arrive, we will give you a free loaner to drive while we are repairing your vehicle. You notice that we work on all makes of cars and trucks. Free loaner, guaranteed work, no gamble. Sherwood Chevrolet on 8th Street East. We'll fix it right.
Scotia Centre Mall, downtown Saskatoon. The mall on 2nd Avenue South and on 1st Avenue South. We're the mall that joins the avenues. Discover us. We're the mall with style, offering over 20 unique and distinct stores and services where you will find service with style, fashion with style, selection with style, and relaxing with style. Scotia Centre Mall, downtown Saskatoon. Discover our style.
You're looking at One Canadian. At a time when small business owners run 98% of our businesses and employ 1 in 3 Canadians. To Royal Bank, his business is a cornerstone of the economy. That's why we've lowered his service charges by 10% for at least a year. A small break for small business. If it helps even one, it's worth it. After all, we got to be Canada's largest bank, one customer at a time.
Philadelphia leads 6-5, and even though we're only in the top of the 3rd inning, this World Series is already the 2nd highest scoring World Series through the first 4 games. Only the Cubs and Yankees scored more runs in the first 4 games in 1932 than the first 4 games of this series. And of course, there's a long way to go tonight. These 2 teams, at the rate they're going, will shatter that mark, needing only 9 runs between the 2 of them to tie the rest of the way. Interesting that both Tommy Green and Todd Stottlemyre departed at the same moment. Green for a new pitcher, Stottlemyre for a pinch hitter. Here's Roger Mason making his 3rd appearance.
Roger Mason has worked 13 innings in postseason play and given up only 1 run. He gave it up in game 2 against the Blue Jays. This is 3rd appearance of the series.
And native Canadian Rob Butler is up for the first time ever in the World Series. He's a rookie in 1993. And he's a Toronto native. He's the 6th Canadian-born player to wear the Blue Jays Major League uniform. The others, Dave McKay, Paul Hodgson, Rod Ducey, Denny Boucher, and Vince Horsman. Out of play, 0-2, the count on Butler.
They talk about the Phillies being a throwback. A lot of their players throwbacks. Well, Robbie Butler certainly a throwback. He looks like he could have been a player in the 20s with his socks up that high. It's fashionable now in Major League Baseball to wear your pants almost like pajama pants with elastic on the bottom.
I think George Hendrick was the first to go to the pair of slacks. A fashion statement that has been copied many times since. But you've seen the pants worn much higher on several players lately. Jim Thome, another young player for Cleveland, who has the socks all the way up to the knee. Low 1-2. He tied him up. It's Weekly to first on a hop. Kruk to Stalker, and that's all they'll get. They erased Borders. The play goes 3-6. And now the tying run in the person of Fernandez is at 3rd with 2 outs. Butler safe on the fielder's choice.
When a ball isn't hit hard to the right side of the infield with runners on at 1st and 2nd, the shortstop realizes he can't get the double play. But look at the fake throw by Stalker and then look to 3rd. Perhaps allowing Fernandez to round the bag too far and then to throw behind him. That's a young shortstop with an experienced play. And that's what Jim Fregosi talks about when he talks about Kevin Stalker. And even though he had only 70 games this season, he is a guy that you'd think had been around for 10 years.
Ricky Henderson looked at ball 1. He doubled and scored in the 1st. Fouled out to the first baseman Kruk in the 2nd. Now on Henderson. Top 7 hitters. How about those batting averages in this series for Toronto? Marky Anderson, Johnny Oates, and other American League managers have said many times you can't expect to go through that part of the batting order without being damaged. More or less been the case for the Phillies in this series. Tying run at 3rd, go ahead run at 1st, and a count of 3-0 on Henderson.
About the first 6 players in the Blue Jays lineup, there are no soft spots. You can't pitch around any hitter. And now you have production out of Tony Fernandez. Pat Borders drove in a run in this inning.
And that's ball 4. Loads the bases and puts the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Phillies, on the other hand, are a tough lineup, leading the National League in runs scored with 877. But you can left and right the lineup. They have 3 regular players who are left-handed hitters, 2 platoon players in the lineup tonight, left-handed hitters, Jim Eisenreich and Milt Thompson. So you can make the Phillies make some moves, but not the Blue Jays.
Devon White, the 8th batter of the inning. Jays have scored twice here in the 3rd to cut the Philadelphia lead to 1. Mentioned Rob Butler, a native Canadian. He's the first Canadian on a World Series roster This is Reggie Cleveland of the Red Sox back in 1975. Rob's a Toronto native. His family is from Butlerville, Newfoundland.
Named a town after him.
His ancestors settled the town. Everybody in the town was named Butler. That's why they did it. Base hit. Butler will have a chance to score the go-ahead run, and he will as the throw goes to second. A 2-run single for Devon White. And the Blue Jays reclaim the lead at 7-6. First hit of the night for White. He's hit in every game in this series, and he's now driven in 5 runs.
He and Lenny Dykstra are the only 2 players who have hit in every game in the series. And the hits keep right on coming. You feel like a disc jockey up here, don't you? Spinning them out.
Those runs charged to green. The run scored by Borders charged to green. The run scored by Butler. The go-ahead run is also charged to green. So he is the pitcher of record. 7 runs on 8 hits for Toronto. 6 runs and 3 hits for Philadelphia. And the Jays have batted around here in the 3rd. Robbie Alomar, the 9th batter of the inning. He singled to center last inning. That was the inning-ending play as Stottlemyre was thrown out at 3rd, trying to go from 1st to 3rd on the single by Alomar. Rob Butler told the story about when he was young. His dad Frank took him back to Butlerville, Newfoundland. They went to a softball game. He said every player on the field had the name Butler on his back. About 200 families live in Butlerville, Newfoundland. What a thrill for Rob. In his first World Series game, he scores the go-ahead run. Alomar took strike 2 at the knees. If you're just joining us, this game has been played in a light drizzle throughout. Rained almost all day here in Philadelphia. First and second with 2 outs. 3rd inning, 7-6 Toronto. The runners go, and it's a double steal for Henderson and White. Both with outstanding speed, and they were able to steal and move up without a throw.
There was no play on Ricky Henderson. There was, however, a play on Devon White. Watch how he delays to make sure Henderson runs before he runs. The trail runner must be sure that the runner at second base isn't faking going to 3rd. He's got to be sure he makes it. So a double steal against Roger Mason.
And 2 more men in scoring position. And those 2 runners are the responsibility of Mason. Green's line complete, 2 innings and a 3rd. And he allowed 7 runs, all earned.
You might think about walking Alomar in this situation if the count weren't 2-2. But I think Mason's going to try to get him to go after a ball in the dirt. The problem with that thinking is Henderson's on 3rd. Wild pitch, he scores.
The 2-2. Probably not where Mason meant to leave that breaking ball, up high. And the count is full. Green 2 1/3. 7 runs all earned on 7 hits. He walked 4 and struck out 1. Relieved by 35-year-old veteran Roger Mason. Popped up and out of play. Game 5 tomorrow night. Airtime 8 Eastern on CBS. The first pitch at 8:12. Juan Guzman and Kurt Schilling in a rematch of Game 1 will be the Game 5 starters. Another 3-2 pitch. He's driven out. We'll return to Veterans Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
We're very particular about our treatment of the environment here. We take great care, and have over the years, to not to damage the environment in any way.
The North is so vast that the little sections of land that they do take to mine uranium are so tiny as compared to the whole scope of northern Saskatchewan.
We care about our communities and our environment. Chemical, look over our shoulder, please.
This is your standard living room, seating for 8 with all the comforts of home. Our living room also has seating for 8 with all the comforts of home. The only difference is, ours comes with a 4.3-liter V6 engine, standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, a driver's side facial airbag, and the most towing capacity in its class. Introducing the 1994 GMC Safari.
Now, Mr. Fidelford, we'll talk about the painting.
Okay.
Now, first, the living room. I want it to be a soft green.
Uh-huh.
Not as blue-green as a robin's egg,
No.
but not as yellow-green as daffodil bud.
No.
It should just be a sort of grayish yellow-green.
Uh-huh.
Good old-fashioned services available in Saskatoon at Days Paint, 701 2nd Avenue North, 1/2 block north of SGI.
A fall preview from Manhattan Casuals. Manhattan Casuals for men and women, Bayside, Saskatoon, and the Galleria, Regina.
You notice his pitch in the dirt, right?
Prior to the game tonight, the ceremonial first pitch was thrown out by former Phillies great Steve Carlton. And the only thing missing was his former battery mate, Tim McCarver. I asked the two gentlemen during the break between innings how long they played together, and Steve Carlton said too long.
Timmy was there in spirit tonight.
I told you to throw the ball up in the booth.
Oh,
I had
didn't
my
make it
mitt ready.
I didn't make it to the catcher, you know.
Now, is that at all a nerve-wracking experience to go out on the field and throw the ball before the World Series game?
That's a lot of fun, you know. Even the game, I got over the nervous part of it, you know, and turned it into more of a science. And I eliminated the hitter and went to just playing that advanced game of catch, which is, I think, is more of an elevated way to pitch.
Now, obviously, this has not been a pitcher's night tonight. What's your read on the way this game has gone so far?
You know, watching Tommy Green, he came out. I think he might have been a little nervous. It's cool out there, but not enough to make him stiff. You know, you could see he was cutting his pitches off a little short. He wasn't like striding out and really riding the ball out. He like cut it off back here. And you see, when he throws the ball doesn't really tail like that. See by the way the ball's tailing, he was cutting it off. He was choking a little bit. Just a little tense. Takes time, you know.
Indeed it does. The new pitcher is Al Leiter, who was so impressive in game one in picking up the win in relief of Juan Guzman. Darren Dalton, the leadoff batter, and the count is 1-1. Joined by Steve Carlton, one of 4 Phillies who has had his uniform number retired. And I'm sure the folks around the country would be interested to know what you're spending your time with these days.
Well, thank God it's not in baseball. I can't take any games like this. It's making me nervous. I'm out in Colorado, retired, and doing the horses and the chickens and stuff like that. Plant a lot of fruit trees and ski and motorcycle ride. But I don't miss the game. I love the game. I don't miss it. It's nice to be away from it after so many years.
You're living the life of a country squire, then.
A gentleman's farm, yes. I don't have a top hat, but I do have a cowboy hat. It is fun. I love skiing. It's the most fun I've ever had.
Darren Dalton strikes out. He's had more fun in the past.
These guys got to get it back on track.
329 career wins, 4 Cy Young Awards, over 4,000 strikeouts. Among it all, can you pick out a memory that looms above all the others from your career?
All postseason play is a great deal of fun. You know, the media hype, just like it is here. You know, and I think 19 strikeouts. 1972 was a great year. You know, to do so much with the club that we had. They played tremendous behind me, and we just had a super season 1972. You know, Cy Youngs are fun. I think postseason, because of all the attention, is the greatest fun.
Tony Fernandez on the move throughout Eisenreich for the second out of the inning.
You mentioned the 19 strikeouts. That was in a 4-3 loss to the New York Mets in 1969. The first pitcher ever to strike out 19 hitters in a game. That's your biggest thrill, you think, singularly?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting night because I was contemplating not going to the stadium that evening because I was sort of sick at home. I didn't, you know, like feverish and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I told Bev didn't come to the game that night. She's always there, you know. When
Bev, your wife.
She did not, yeah, Bev, and she did not make it that night because she felt that I would just go there and, you know, not end up pitching. But when I went to warm up, I must have been so loose or something like that. It was incredible. The ball just kind of jumped out of my hand. I never threw so hard. Had such a big breaking ball, such a fast, late breaking slider. Just a tremendous night. We had an hour and 20-minute rain delay and came back and was throwing even better. So awesome night.
I remember you telling me that story, that you were looking at your hand wondering, how can I throw that hard? That the ball was jumping out of your hand and you're looking at your hand and your forearm saying, what's going on here?
It was like magic. You know, you just go to throw and usually it takes you, you know, maybe 5 minutes to kind of get loose. So the first pitch I threw just like, it was the hardest I was going to throw. You know, just like fired out of my hand. It was like it was a mystery. What a night. You know, just to throw the ball that hard. Now I know how Nolan Ryan feels. You know, his whole career.
At one time, you were ahead of Nolan Ryan in strikeouts.
Yeah, we went one-on-one there for a while, but Nolan had me in age and he had me in velocity and a lot of things. And I knew he was going to outlast me. And he went on to, you know, strike out almost. It was approaching 6,000 guys. So he's way ahead of me, 1,600 strikeouts, and I don't think that'll ever be broken. Tremendous arm. Tribute. Great athlete.
Full count on Thompson. The triple, driving 3 runs in the first. Broken bat to Roberto Alomar, and he throws him out. Steve, thanks so much for the visit. Congratulations on the honor of throwing out the ball tonight.
Oh, thanks, gentlemen. Thank you.
After 3, 7-6, Toronto.
Taste of Labatt Light. Now that's refreshing.
Cops don't come tougher than Ned Ravine.
Police emergency, I need a vehicle. Don't be a fool!
But this cop
has the right to remain silent. Next.
Has a soft spot. Women.
I'm slipping!
But falling for this woman could be fatal.
Watch your step in here, there's a lot of blood.
Fatal Instinct, a killer comedy. Starts Friday, October 29th.
Hey, Isabella Lloyd, that's a good 6 hours. You're tired, it's almost dinner. How about a tasty breadstick? Just add the great taste of beef. As an important source of iron and with just 178 calories, a serving of trimmed beef can play an important role in your balanced diet. Nutritious and delicious.
Nothing else is beef.
To some, it was a contradiction. The notion of converting the smallest amount of liquid resources into pure power. Some dabbled with it, approached it, surrounded it. But Honda made it happen. VTEC, high efficiency power. Deep Year from Honda.
This game summary is sponsored by the American Express card.
And where do we begin to summarize this one? The Blue Jays got 3 runs in the top of the first, 4 more in the third. The Phillies got 4 in the bottom of the first, take a 4-3 lead after 1. Lenny Dykstra with a 2-run homer in the second to make it 6-3. For the Blue Jays got those 4 runs in the third. Then what do you know, a 1-2-3 inning by Al Leiter in the bottom of the third, so it's still 7-6 Toronto. And Joe Carter is the leadoff hitter in the fourth. He started the third harmlessly enough by popping out to the second baseman. It was the last out recorded by Tommy Green. Fly ball, shallow center. Stalker out to make the play. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Tim and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 and the player's name to the Special Olympics. With the early departures of Green and Stottlemyre, this is the first time since Game 1 of the 1966 World Series that each starter was knocked out within the first 3 innings. That was a series between the Dodgers and Orioles. Dave McNally lasted only 2 1/3 innings in Game 1 of the '66 series, and Don Drysdale went 2 innings.
Frank Robinson, the winner of the Triple Crown that year for Baltimore. And with John Olerud hitting, John Olerud, if the Blue Jays win the series, will be the first time that a batting champion has played on a World Series winner since Frank Robinson back in 1966.
Into the hands and a loop to Hollins, who stepped in front of Stocker. So Olerud is 0 for 2 now with the walk and the run scored last inning. He started the 4-run rally with the 1-out walk. He scored the first of the runs. To the batter. He walked with the bases loaded. And singled and scored in the third. Popped up along the right field line. Eisenreich makes the catch. And that ends the inning. A 1-2 inning for Roger Mason.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV, sponsored by your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Always the real thing. Always Coca-Cola.
What's the Hobo Clothing Company all about? Clothing, obviously. And not just the famous hobo jacket. Shirts, socks, gloves, zip in, zip out. But there are non-clothing items as well. Backpacks, Swiss Army knives, and much more.
So check out the Hobo Clothing Company for clothing, but also for the non-clothing items.
When a car is involved in a collision, it's very important that it be properly repaired. If it's not, passenger safety could be jeopardized. We can demonstrate what we mean by standing on this can, like a unibody frame, is able to withstand pressure, but even a minor dent in the can destroys its structural integrity.
Juicy Auto Body are the collision experts. Bring in your insurance claim and get it done right. Juicy Auto Body will finance the deductible.
Juicy Auto Body, doing it right. Juicy.
The new Ram pickup features a frame design so strong it's been patented. Its optional rear step bumper can pull 5,000 pounds by itself without the help of that frame. The tie downs in back are so strong they can support the weight of the entire truck. We overbuilt this pickup because we were sure you'd never underwork it. Dodge, reinventing the truck.
Hoffman Cool Insurance asks you to think about your property and your belongings. Some of the things you enjoy all the time are fairly valuable and expensive to replace if anything happens to them. With an SGI home pack or tenant pack, you can rest a little easier. Hoffman Cool Insurance is an experienced local business ready to help you with all insurance matters. Open 6 days a week. Conveniently located at number 575 Lenore Drive.
Welcome back to Veterans Stadium as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. I'm joined by a man who is synonymous with the World Series, the only man to be the MVP in both leagues, Frank Robinson. And Frank, how do you begin to analyze this game?
Well, you don't. The only thing I can understand is why is it so difficult to throw strikes? I just don't understand that.
Frank, would you like to general manage? You are now an assistant general manager for the Baltimore Orioles. Would you like to general manage or manage once again?
Well, the idea right now for me, Joel, is to be a general manager one day. I would not rule out being a manager again, but it'd have to be a very special situation.
Would that situation occur in Baltimore possibly? Would you like to go back to the Orioles?
Not as a manager, no. My ambition is to be a general manager, and I say it'd have to be a very special case to become a manager again. My ambition is one day be a general manager.
We hope you obtain it. Let's go back upstairs to Sean.
Thank you, Jim. First batter of the inning, Kevin Stocker out on the pop-up to Tony Fernandez at short. And all of a sudden, 7 Phillies in a row have been retired by Toronto pitching. Stottlemyre retired the last 3 he faced, and Al Leiter's entered the ball game and set down 4 in a row. We're in the 4th inning, and the Blue Jays lead 7-6. Roger Mason will bat for himself, and he looked at strike 1.
And Cito Gaston has achieved in the early going what he wanted to achieve with Al Leiter. He had Al Leiter pitch against Jim Eisenreich and Milt Thompson, 2 left-handed batters. And the reason that Jim Fregosi left them in, it's really too early to take them out, especially with nobody on base. So Fregosi will save the right-handed hitters in Cavilla and West Chamberlain. I ducked too, by the way.
Yeah,
on
that looked like it was coming right into the living room of everybody watching.
What about 3-dimension? That 3D, it would have really looked like it was coming right at us. But that's the reason that Fregosi is saving his right-handed batters.
Mason hit it pretty sharply, but right at the center fielder White for the 2nd out.
So the thing is, Gaston has got Fregosi right now any way you look at it. If he leaves the left-handers in, then he's got Leiter pitching to him. And then if he brings the right-handers in, that sets it up for later on for a guy like Danny Cox or Dwayne Ward or one of the right-handers in the bullpen.
Mike Timlin.
Yeah. Yeah, Timlin more than Cox tonight, since Cox worked a lengthy inning and a half last night.
2 outs, bases empty. After an unprecedented start offensively, this game has started to settle down. Lenny Dykstra walked, stole second, and scored in the first, hit a 2-run homer to right field in the 2nd. Leiter missed outside, 1-1. Leiter says he doesn't throw as hard as he did when he first came up to the major leagues at age 20 with the Yankees. He used to throw in the mid and high 90s then, but the last fastball to Dykstra clocked at 92 down below.
Yeah, but see, Leiter features the stuff that can get left-handed hitters out the best, and that's hard stuff. Left-handed hitters hit soft curveballs and mediocre sliders against left-handers better than the hard stuff. So Leiter has that appearance of really jumping at left-handed hitters, and that's why he's so tough.
Al's dealing with hard stuff off the field as well. He's taking correspondence courses during the World Series from Penn State University. Dykstra to right field and well hit. Carter at the wall. It's off the wall. Backed up by White. Dykstra has a double. And he just missed by a couple of feet his 2nd home run of the night that would have tied up the ball game.
He had a 2-run homer against Todd Stottlemyre his last time up. That gave the Phillies a 6-3 lead, and he's trying to tie it right here. By about 3 feet. Joe Carter back, realizing that Devon White's going to be there to back him up. Looked like Dykstra was kind of in his home run trot. He's only going to go to second base anyway, and he makes it easily.
Tying run in scoring position for Mariano Duncan. All one way inside. Duncan, who had 6 hits in the first 3 games, is 0 for 2 tonight. He's flying to right into center. A double by Dykstra, just the 4th Philadelphia hit, his 2nd. Toronto has 7 runs on 8 hits. The Blue Jays leading 7-6. Mentioned Al Leiter's taking correspondence courses during the World Series. His teammates tease him because he spotted from time to time in the clubhouse reading textbooks. He just finished a course in political science and astronomy, math, and English. Going to have to wait until the season is over. He has about 50 credits toward his degree. Ball 2, low and in.
Dave Stewart, by the way, will be the pitcher in Game 6 if the series goes back to Toronto. And for that to happen, the Phillies will have to win at least one game either tonight or tomorrow night.
The 2-0. Breaking ball, and Duncan couldn't get to it. Leiter is hoping that it won't be necessary for the series to return to Toronto for a couple of reasons. The first being, as you noted, Tim, that if it doesn't go back to Toronto, that means the Blue Jays are world champion. The other reason is his cousin Dan is getting married this weekend in Clearwater, Florida, and he'd like to attend the wedding. Duncan was the best Philly in this situation during the regular season. He hit .316 with runners in scoring position. Despite the 6 hits in the first 3 games, he has only 1 RBI. Payoff pitch. Little looper. Could be a problem. It is. Dykstra around to tie the game at 7.
Duncan proves that he led the Phillies with runners in scoring position. A Dykstra. Remember that graphic we had before Game 1? Lenny. Well, it's been Lenny tonight. He has scored 3 times, a 2-run homer, 2 RBIs, a double, a stolen base, and a walk. He's been all over the place.
And now Duncan represents the go-ahead run at first. 7-7 the score in the 4th inning. John Kruk is 0 for 2 tonight. He looked at a ball high. He is struck out and bounced to second. Now 7 for 14 in the World Series. Dropped the pitch. It was up and in, 2-0. Leiter from Toms River, New Jersey. As a young boy, he used to attend games in this stadium, about 55 miles from his home. Paid 50 cents. Come down with youth groups as a child and sit out in the center field bleachers. Struck to right. Carter makes the catch, and that ends the inning, but the Phillies tie it, and after 4 the score is 7-7.
Now with a Coca-Cola sports break, here's Rod Black.
Well, folks, back to a wild one in Philly in a moment, and looks like what could be a long one tonight. So settle in and let's take a look at some National Hockey League action tonight. 5 games on tap, including the battle of the Gretzkys. The great one, Wayne, against the younger one, Brent. 99 against 49. Their first meeting ever between brothers Gretzky. The older brother winning the battle so far. He has a goal and 2 assists. Wayne does for the Kings in the Thunderdome. Brent Gretzky with the chance here. Off the goal post, and the Kings leading 4-2. Another Brantford native, Chris Gratton, has a goal for the Lightning. That's in the 3rd period. Other action. Mighty Ducks of Anaheim trying to go 2 in a row, but losing right now to New Jersey. The Devils could make it 6-0 to start the season. That's in the third. Edmonton and Calgary just underway. Oilers leading 1-0 over the Flames in the first. When we come back, more highlights, including Chris Pronger as the Hartford Whalers